Sing tengen tok suaranya kecil. Jadi ini saya memakai alat focus rate, karena kalau tidak memakai alat ini ya suaranya wis ndak usah diatur, wis langsung dua dari mixer langsung ke laptop itu sudah dua. Tapi kalau memakai alat ini, karena ini alat sebenarnya alat untuk recording musik dan lain sebagainya, itu harus pengaturan seperti ini. Tapi hasilnya insya Allah dipakai rekaman, dipakai streaming, insya Allah juga akan lebih bagus ketimbang kita ndak memakai alat seperti ini, ndak gawe saringan, ndak gawe apa itu namanya sound card audio focus rate. Lalu kita akan coba untuk merekam, yang direkam itu hasilnya piye, yang direkam hasilnya bagaimana di channel. Nah, kalau merekam audio saya biasanya pakai Adobe Audition ya. Saya pakai Adobe Audition di sini. Nah, ini sudah kelihatan saya pakai Adobe Audition kalau merekam audio. Tapi kalau untuk Adobe Audition itu hasilnya juga masih separuh. Nah, kidur separuh ta. Masih hasilnya separuh. Testing. Nah, jika noise terlalu gede, maka kita pilih input ini, kita kecilkan. Nah, seperti ini ya, dicilik neng. Tidak ada kan? Kelihatan noise sama sekali tidak masuk. Kita diam dulu, tak meneng sik, delok noise ana ora. Ya kecil banget, noise kecil banget. Testing, 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 testing. Ya memang suaranya separuh, memang mundur separuh. Testing, 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 testing. Tes 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Tes.
Tim from a color in my camera, or I can even the image as the backdrop, like factors. Now, those are some really recommend getting on YouTube or Google Studio. So what you need to do is this is where you can create the chroma key and then go to want to use the one in front of us with the green behind us. So I'm just going to go into the setting, the chroma key. So now if you want a good audio give you by using this anti-aliasing, you can, all right, so now I start overlay ourselves to it. Blank mix to this blank input. And then I'm going to select camera 1, which is the one we've chroma keyed, and next to it, and I'm going to create that number 2 here. You'll get a pretty good move the green screen. All right, so now I can go back. This is the camera that we want to the color key section. Now this is where you can create the chroma key. So I'm going to select the color key here, and that's going to give us the ability to select what color we want to remove. So I'm going to use the eyedropper here and select a. I would recommend selecting the number 2 preset here. So that's going to give you a good chroma key if you've got some decent lighting and a good set. But you can also fine tune it by using these sliders here for chroma key and the chroma key filter as well. Now, if you wanted to adjust the anti-aliasing, you can do that from this section. But usually if you select number 2 here, you'll get a pretty good chroma key. All right, so now I can go back to my production. As you can see, I have completely removed the green screen background, and I'm ready to start overlaying myself into different locations. Now, typically for our live show, what we like to do is overlay ourselves using the input multi-view. So I can create an input and then add multiple layers to it. So I can add a backdrop and I can add myself onto it. So I'm going to show you how to set up that now. So I can go to add input, or I can click this little button next to it, and I'm going to create a blank input. And that's going to create a color input here, which is just going to be a blank input in vMix. Then I can go ahead and click the settings and then go to multi-view. This is where I can add different layers to this blank input. So I'm going to select background. So this is the image that we've already loaded. And then I'm going to select camera, select background, view, different locations, completely remove chroma key. All right, so now I can go back to my production. As you can see, I have completely view. So I can create, so I'm going to show you how to create a blank vMix. And that's going to create a color, and click the setting. So I'm going to select background. So this is the image that we've already loaded. And then I'm going to select camera 1, which is the one we've chroma keyed, and I'm going to set this up. So here I am now. So I'm right in front of this awesome waterfall background. One thing to keep in mind is to blur your background a little bit. Sometimes you'll see the picture which is as sharp or sharper than the actual camera. So make sure that you blur your background a little bit so you kind of stand out from it. So yeah, that's how we set up our production. So we also add other layers to have things in the top corners as well. So you can use a blank input and then add all these different layers to it. Now, if you wanted to, you could also use the overlay channels in vMix to overlay your chroma keyed image here. So for example, I could put myself in the bottom corner if I was, say, doing a tutorial. For example, if I had a video like this, I could talk over the top of it, and I could be explaining things. So yeah, that's something you can do with the overlay channels. And you can also use it with the virtual sets in vMix. So if I go to add input and I go to the virtual set section, I can select a virtual set that we have here, click OK, and then I can start using myself in this virtual set. So what I'm going to do is just bring this up here so you can see it a little bit better. And then I've got my virtual set here ready to go. So I've got different options. So I've got screen 1, 2, and 3. So if I wanted to, I can put myself in this talent section here. So what I need to do is go to the virtual set, go to setup, and for the layer, I just need to select talent. Then I can select camera 1, like so. So now I am currently in the virtual set. Now what I can do then is I can select it here and I can move myself around a bit. I could use shift to zoom in and zoom out just a bit, like so. Now I can also do this from the layer as well. So if I go into the layers here, go to multi-view, select the camera layer, I can position it, move it around if I wanted to from here. I could also do it from the original camera, but if you want to be using it in different locations, resizing the camera here will resize it in any other multi-view that you might have as well. So that might not be the best option. So here I am currently sitting in the set, and then I could go ahead and make changes to, the other screens, add the hummingbird here, and add different things to the different screens if I wanted to. So that's how you could add a chroma key image to a virtual set. So if you do have any questions about vMix or chroma keying or adding layers to your inputs, feel free to send us through an email via the contact page on vmix.com. Now it's really hard to answer technical questions via YouTube comments because we don't know your setup, we don't know how you got your green screen set up and that type of thing. So it's best to send us an email. That way, if we need to, you can send through some footage to show us what it looks like so we can give you an idea on how to potentially fix it. So thanks for watching and we'll stream you later.
Thanks for watching. Click to watch another exciting vMix video or head to vmix.com for a free 60-day trial. See you later.
G'day everyone, Tim here from vMix, and today we're going to go over how to use virtual sets in vMix. Virtual sets are a good way to create a studio or a set without actually having to build one. You can use them for things like news reports, talk shows, weather reports, and you'll see them all the time across TV and movies. All you need is a green screen to give you the ability to insert yourself into different layers of the virtual set. Now in vMix, we do have a number of virtual sets that you can use. However, I would recommend if you are looking for a professional or a custom virtual set to check out the software vendors on our website. Places like Virtual Setworks and Virtual Studio Sets can create custom and really professional looking virtual sets. They're even used on network TV and across different television channels for their productions. All right, so let's jump into it. So I've got my green screen behind me. So in order to put myself onto a virtual set, I'm gonna have to get rid of the green screen. So what I'm gonna do is go into the settings for the camera, and I'm gonna go into the color key up here. Then I'm going to select color key up the top and use the eyedropper to select a green. Now I can make tweaks and changes here by selecting the chroma key filter and the chroma key here and checking the anti-aliasing. What I'm going to do is so the preset 2 here will give you a really good chroma key. You can tweak all these settings and stuff yourself, but usually selecting number 2 with good lighting will give you a good chroma key. All right, so I'm going to close out of this now. So now I've got my camera, as you can see, with nothing behind me. So now I can go ahead and add a virtual set in vMix. So I'll go to Add Input and then go to the Virtual Set section. Now I'm going to grab one of these sets here that we have built in from Virtual Studio Sets. I'm going to select this one in the top right hand corner here and click OK. So now that's going to appear in my production. So if I want to, I can now start using these layers. Now you'll see that you've got different things like 1, 2, 3A, you've got pictures. We can change a lot of these elements in the virtual set. So we'll come down to the virtual set here. You can see next to the input, we've got camera and setup. Now the camera refers to different zoom availabilities for each part of the virtual set. So each set has the ability to zoom in like so to different angles. So this is like angle 1, we've got angle 2 here, and then angle 3 and 4 below that. And we can set it to go fast, medium, slow, or cut. So if I set this to cut, when I click the different options, it's going to cut to it. If I select fast, it's going to zoom in quickly, like so, and zoom out. So I can set the timings in this section here. So we have different speed options if you want to switch between them. And you can use the shortcuts to maneuver those as well in your production. All right, next to that, we've got setup. So I'm going to click setup here. Now you'll see layer. Now from this drop-down menu, there's 10 different layers that we can edit in this particular virtual set. So for example, I want to edit the talent, which is this A section here, talent A. And then I want to put my camera in there. And so as you can see, hey, now I'm doing a show, I've got my desk and I'm ready to go. However, this looks a little bit out of place because I look like a giant and I'm not really that tall. So what I can do is I can move it around like so from the input, hold down Shift to zoom in and zoom out, place myself behind the desk here. Or I can also go into the multi-view settings like so for this particular virtual set, and I can then move myself around and reposition myself how I like. I just need to select this particular layer and I can change the positioning from the position screen as well. Okay, so now here I am on this set. It looks pretty good. So what I can do now is I'll actually go back to the camera settings and zoom out to a wider angle, and that way I'll be able to set up these other screens as well. So I'll go to setup and then I'll go to screen 1. I'll put this hummingbird picture. I don't need it to play, so I'm just gonna pause it. Screen 2, I'll put this PT Symphony. I'm going to pause that so we don't hear the video and the audio. Should probably turn that off. It's a great music video if you want to check that out. And then I've got other options here. So I've got this number 3 down the bottom. So what I'm going to do for this one here, screen 3, I'm going to throw up the vMix logo. And that way it looks like I've got the vMix News Show. Welcome to the vMix News Show. Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to the vMix News Show. So yeah, it looks totally believable. There are other options here that I can change. I can change the backdrop, the skyline here if I wanted to. So if I wanted to make this, you know, like a beach, so I'm on a cliff now, doing this report, I can change that as well. So there's a lot of different options you can change. And now if I go back to the camera, I can choose to, you know, zoom in quickly. Hi, welcome to the show today. My name's Tim, etc., etc. And I can change the speeds here as well. Now you can also adjust the camera level zoom, so how far they zoom in and zoom out. So for example here, like this shot we have, it's a fairly close up, but if I wanted to bring this out just slightly or even zoom it in, all I need to do is right click on the angle and then I can choose to zoom out and zoom in and choose what kind of angle I want. And I can also slide it as well if I want to tap to the side here or change different things on different axes. So if I select this here, so now if I come out to the mid-level, if I go to this one here, it's going to be to the side. So you can choose where you want those zoom levels for the camera angles to be. So that's how simple it is to set up one of the pre-built virtual sets in vMix. Now if we go back into the menu here, we do have a couple of other virtual sets that give you that sort of ability. And we also have these double boxes as well. So for example, I can select one of these double box. So with this double box here, I can get the setup and I can choose what layer I want to use. For example, you know, box 1, I can choose a New York City video. Box 2, I just need to select it first. And I can change it to something else. And then I can go ahead and change the backdrop as well to a different one, like that. So then I've got a virtual set, but it's really like a double box effect. So I can create a double box effect or multiple box effect using the virtual sets. As you can see here, there's a bunch of them in there. So I can use the same sort of functionality for this one with the cameras. So I can zoom in like so. So if I do this quickly, I can zoom out and I can move into this one, zoom out to double, and zoom back to this one. So I can use the virtual set for that double box effect as well. So I'm just going to quickly close this down. Now I can also go ahead and add a virtual set. I can create a blank virtual set if I want to and click OK. So that gives me the ability to add layers to this one. So for example, for my background layer, I could put my picture like so. Let's put this in here. For the next layer, for layer 1, I can make it me. So I'm down here. And then layer 3, I could put in something else. So I could go ahead and put this video here, and then I could change where it goes. So it's kind of like creating an input multi-view, but using the virtual set functionality. And if I wanted to, I can choose to export this as well. I can also make layers visible and invisible using this box here. I can reset the positions if I want to, if I've moved them. So that's what you can do underneath each of the virtual set. So I can export the virtual set as well by clicking export. I can export all of the settings to a folder. Once you've exported the folder, if you wanted to import it again into vMix for this production or another production, you just need to go to Add Input, go to Virtual Set, and then go to Browse and select that folder. Now before, we showed you this blank input here. You can also create a blank 10 virtual set. So if I select it here, this will give you the ability to have 10 different layers instead of just 4. So you would need to build your virtual set and then start layering all your inputs in vMix. So for example, if I picked layer 5, we showed you a little bit about this to the multi-view settings for this waterfall. I can go ahead and position this better. So if I've got the ability to have, if I've created a picture of a television behind me, I could go ahead and move this into the right location, and then I can adjust it on different axes, zooms, and maneuver it around and crop it if I need to. So that's how you would go about building your virtual set, finishing it off in vMix. So one final virtual set that we do have is a 360 set. So we go to virtual sets here and we select 360 video, click OK. Basically what we can do is use the 360 video as the full 360 when we're streaming, and then we can inset different vMix inputs. So with the setup here, I would select the camera 360 as the camera, and then for the front, right, left, and I can move those around. Now we do have another video that explains this in a lot more depth, so I would recommend checking that out if you wanted to use the 360 virtual set. So thanks for watching this video. If you do have any questions about virtual sets or about vMix in general, please send us through an email via the support page on vmix.com. It's really hard to answer technical YouTube questions. And if you do have any questions or if you want to purchase additional virtual sets, I'd check out our website for those different vendors. So thanks for watching, and we'll stream you later.
Thanks for watching. Click to watch another exciting vMix video or head to vmix.com for a free 60-day trial. See you later.
G'day everyone, and welcome to this video today. My name's Tim and I do a lot of the training videos here at vMix, and something that we get requested a lot is a live demo video. So we get emails every single day and we don't really have the time or capacity to do thousands of live training videos on vMix every single day. So this is kind of going to be a live, not live, demo of vMix. And so it might be a little bit longer. We're going to kind of go over all of the commonly asked questions and show you some basic production scenarios across this video. Now I'm going to try and do it as quickly as possible with one take, but I guarantee you would probably be 100 and 200,000 maybe takes before we get it done. So anyway, stick with me and we'll go through as much as we can in this live demo. Now, if you do have any questions about specific functions or features in vMix, check out the hundreds of other videos on our YouTube channel. Or you can send us an email if you have a specific question via our website. If you do email us asking for a live demo, you'll probably just get a link back to this video. So do your best not to create that infinite loop. And if I have sent you an email link to this video, hi, hope you enjoy this video. So firstly, if you didn't know, vMix is software for your Windows computer that allows you to create live video productions and live streams. You can use it to add multiple cameras, video guests, social media content, instant replays, NDI sources, titles, data-driven graphics, and a whole lot more. Now, we've seen vMix used in trillion-dollar companies, network TV, your favorite sporting events, esports, tournaments, red carpets, but it's also accessible enough to use for an everyday personal talk show live stream, game streams, product launches, or maybe even internal town hall meetings. And of course, we use it for our monthly live show here at vMix. Now, vMix is a really versatile solution for a lot of people. However, we don't mind if you use all of vMix's features or maybe just one or two. Although you can create world-class multi-camera content that encompasses all of the features that vMix has to offer, you can also use it for something really specific. So maybe you're watching this video and you're the one person in the company that's been tasked to work out how you stream your live video. You've got a video source, you just need to work out how to stream it. So you can use vMix just to encode that video and then stream it out to wherever you like. Now maybe you need a way to get in additional NDI sources into your production. Perhaps you want to use vMix's industry-leading 8-camera instant replay, which we've seen used all over the world in large sports and esports tournaments. So as you can see, you can use different elements of vMix in your production, or you could use vMix for your entire show. It's entirely up to you. So I'd recommend taking a look at our feature list to see if it might work in your workflow. Now, as vMix is for the PC, you can build or purchase the computer that's tailored to your production needs. You don't need to spend any more based on what you want to do in your production. So we spend a lot of time and money here at vMix to make sure that it can be run effectively on off-the-shelf computers. Build your own computer, buy them from a computer shop, or purchase a laptop. Now, if you're tasked with finding out what computer you need to run vMix on, then you can check out our website and have a look at the vMix reference systems page, or go to vmixpc.com, and that's going to redirect you there. There you'll find specific computer builds for specific production requirements like HD video productions, instant replay, and 4K for examples. We also have information regarding the latest laptops for running vMix. Now, if you are a Mac user, unfortunately there's no native support, so you don't need to watch the rest of this video. Sorry about that, I really should have mentioned that at the start. You can boot camp and run Windows, but it's not something that we recommend. There are reasons, but this isn't the video for that. I don't quite have the time. All right, so if you're from the accounting department, we do offer a single outright purchase for all of our vMix editions. If you prefer subscriptions, we offer a monthly subscription option called vMix Max, which is equivalent to our highest edition. Now you can check out our website for all of the pricing. Now, if somebody has asked you to work out what this vMix thing is and you'd like to try it out, I'd recommend downloading our free 60-day trial at vmix.com. Just click on the download link, and after downloading and installing vMix, you can enter your email address to register a 60-day trial of vMix Pro. So there's no watermarks, just the full version of vMix for 60 days. Now, if you want to do that now so that you can follow along with this tutorial or live demo, I'll wait for you, or probably just hit pause on the video. It's probably going to be the easiest way to go. All right, so we'll now go through a couple of scenarios for setting up a live video production with vMix. So firstly, I'm going to show you how to create a simple production with some cameras, a title, some images, and some video files, which is typically the building blocks of a live video production. All right, so if you've got vMix installed, go ahead and open it up to follow along, or you can check out my desktop here as I talk through things. So when opening vMix the very first time, you'll see a little menu and you'll be able to create a new production. Now, this production preset sets the resolution and frame rate for your production. What you'll want to do is think about what plans you have for this production and what equipment you have. Is all of your equipment full HD, 720, 4K? Is it 25 frames a second, 30, 60 frames? So you'll need to think about what equipment you have and then match your production preset to that. You don't want to have mix matching frame rates. So you can change this in your production after the fact, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later on. Okay, so once you've created your production, it's going to look something a little like this. Obviously not exactly like this, as I do have some things already in my production because I am recording this tutorial as a live demo because we're totally live. All right, so up the top left-hand corner, you'll see that preset section. So you have your preset, then you can create a new preset, you can open a preset, and you can save it. So what you'll want to do is, just like a normal document that you're creating, you'll want to save it incrementally, and that's going to save where all your presets and all your settings are. So make sure that you do that as you create your production. So as you can see up the top here, my production is called livedemo.vmix, and it's a vMix preset file. So I just click save up the top here. As I'm going along, I can give it different names if I make slight changes, but when I open up vMix again, I can then open up this exact preset, which is handy if you're doing the same production over and over. Now there is a last button as well, which will kind of go back 30 seconds. It's a 30-second save of the production. Don't rely on this, but you can use it if you need to. And this button up here will revert back if you remove something from the production here. So if I add an input and then I take it away, I can go back one like so. All right, so I already have my production set up. I've already created a new one. I can also see what my production is set to in the bottom left-hand corner. Down here, you'll see it says 1080p, 2997. So all of my production assets, my camera, my video files are going to be 1080, 2997. If I wanted to change this, I can go up to the settings up the top here and make changes here to the master frame rate and the output size if I want to. All right, so in front of you is the vMix interface. Welcome everybody to this demonstration of the vMix interface. So every element you add to your production is called an input. Now those inputs will appear down here in the input section. So on the left-hand side, you have your inputs, and on the right-hand side here, you have your audio mixer. So anything that has audio will appear in this section here, and it will have a designated audio input here. So for example, my camera here has embedded audio coming through this shotgun microphone into the camera. And so I have the option to edit the audio on the right-hand side here. I can go into the settings and make changes to the audio for that. So in the top part of the screen, you'll see a preview window and a program output window. So as you can see here, this is for previewing things, and this is the program output. So whatever's in the right-hand screen is going to be what is streamed and recorded by default. So this is what your production is going to look like. Now, traditionally, how productions work is you select something and you put it into the preview window to make sure it's ready to go out to the world, and then you move it to the program output, you transition it over. So I have another camera up here, I have a PTZ camera. So what you can do is you click on it to move it to the preview window, like so, make sure it's the right shot, and then you can transition that over to the program output window, which will then be seen on your stream or on your recording. So what I'm going to do is use one of the transition buttons in the middle here, and that's going to move it from my preview to my program, like so. And then I can transition that back. So we have transition buttons right here underneath, in the middle here that you can select. You can also make changes to the default and the amount of time it takes to do the transitions if you want to. So those are in the center here. Now you can also do a quick play or a cut directly to that particular camera by using the quick play or cut option on each input. So I can go cut, that's going to automatically move that over without doing the preview to program transition. So that's how you can move something into the preview and then move it to the program output. Something that we do get asked a lot, and I should probably clear this up, why these colors? So orange and green for preview and program output. That's what we've decided to do. That's the vMix way of doing it. If you do want to change these to traditional broadcast colors like green and then red for your program out, go up to the settings, click on it, and then from here you can set the preview color and the program output color from here. Now you will notice that the orange and the green represent what's in the preview. So you can see this here. The program output here is in green and blue is currently not in use. Now, a lot of the times nowadays, people don't preview things, so you can just cut directly to any of your inputs down here by clicking the little cut option, and you can also set up shortcuts. So vMix supports hundreds and hundreds of shortcuts. Anything you want to do in vMix, you can pretty much program to your keyboard and mouse, or you can program it to something like an X keys, a Stream Deck, or a MIDI controller down here. So say I wanted to cut to a camera, I can just set up a row for cameras and just cut directly to them. So that's an option as well. And I'll show you a little bit more about shortcuts just a little bit later on. Okay, so anything that we add into vMix gets added to the input section down here. And in order to do that, we need to use the Add Input menu in the bottom left-hand corner. So this is going to be the most commonly used menu that you have here in vMix. So I'd recommend spending some time, take a look at all the different inputs that you can add. Think, well, what do I want to add? What do I want to add to my production? Do I want to add cameras, PowerPoint? Do I want to add photos and images and audio inputs? So think about what you're going to add to your production and see if vMix supports it. So what I'm going to do right now is add a camera. So I'm going to go to the camera section right here, and then I'm going to select a camera from the drop-down menu. So I'm just going to move this over here like so. All right, so I'm going to select an option from this drop-down menu. Now from this drop-down menu, you'll see any capture devices that are available on your computer. Now in order to get the uncompressed video from your camera into the computer, you need a capture device. So I currently have a Blackmagic Design Decklink 8K Pro in this PC that is right here. And then I have my SDI cameras plugged into that. Now you can also use many other different PCI Express cards like this one here, or perhaps USB or Thunderbolt. And we have a full list of supported capture devices on our website that we spent a lot of time and money testing. So what I'm going to do now is select the camera that I have attached to the second port here. As you can see, I've got SDI. I want to use the same resolution that I have for my production, and that's what the camera is set to. So 1920 by 1080. I need to set the frame rate here, which is going to be 2997. And then I've got my video format is default. You typically won't need to change this. I don't have audio enabled, and so I don't need to worry about the audio input. Some devices have different audio available to them. So I'm going to click OK down the bottom. Okay, so we'll wait for that to come in. And as you can see, I now have my other camera. I can move it into the preview and then transition that out. So as you can see, I now have a third camera in my production, and it's sitting just behind me. So if you wanted to add something like a webcam, a USB camera, you would do the same method as that. You go to the Add Input menu, then you go to Camera, and you'll see it from the drop-down menu as well. So now I'm going to show you how you can add a video file. So we go up here to Video. We just browse for the video file, and I can click on this Sydney video here, click Open, and then click OK. So now I have a video file in my production. I can move it into the preview, and then I can transition that into the program output like so. And then I can transition that back. So now I've got the video file here. I'll show you a couple of settings that are kind of specific to different inputs that will become handy if you end up using vMix. So each input has its own settings in the bottom right-hand corner called Input Settings. So I'm just going to click on this here, and that's going to bring up the settings for the input. So I can change the name of it. So I can get rid of this MP4, and I can just call this Sydney Video. And there are a couple of other options here, like I can sharpen and mirror it. For videos, there's a lot of settings here, like automatically play with transition, automatically restart, and automatically pause. So I'm going to automatically restart this. So depending on what video you've got and how you use your video assets, maybe you want it to pause when you transition back because you're talking about it, and then you want to transition it back to that. You wouldn't restart it. However, if I've got a video that I always want to start from the beginning, I could click that to automatically restart. Now above that is an important audio function in vMix called automatically mix audio. Now when this is ticked, it means that we have the audio from this file or input played when it's in the program output only. So I'll show you what I mean as a quick example. So when I transition this from the preview to the program output, you'll see the audio light turn on. As you can see, the audio is now on. Now this video file doesn't actually have any audio, but it's just showing you how that function works. And when I transition that back, the audio turns off. Now, if I wanted the audio to be manually controlled by myself, so if I turn the audio on here, go into the input settings and switch this off, when I use it as a part of my production, I'm the one that controls the audio. So it's currently on, and no matter what I do with it, that audio will always stay on. So this is very handy for things like microphones, cameras. You want to make sure that your audio is on all the time, and you manually control it by turning it on and turning it off from here, or setting up a shortcut, or using the audio mixer. So I'm going to go in here and just switch that back on again, because that's how I would typically use my video files. I would leave that automatically mix audio on, so it only works when the video is in the output like so. So switch this back again. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too confusing. It's something that you'll need to just play around with and kind of get the feel for it. There are a couple of other things worth noting with the video playback in vMix. Like I can loop a video if I want to by clicking the little loop option underneath it in the input here. I can play and pause that video file by clicking on the play button here, and those changes are reflected in the timeline, so I can play and pause it from both locations. I could also create a shortcut as well to easily play my video files. I can also restart it from this section here. And if I wanted to only use a clip within this video file, I can create a mark in and mark out point for that, so it's only going to play that section. So if I pause it here, I just right click on the time point and you'll see a little green icon underneath it, and I can play that through like so, and then pause it again, and then I can right click here and then just create a mark out point. So you see a red point now. So if I play this video out, it's only going to play between the green and the red markers. Now to reset that, you can reset in, out, or you can reset both, and those both now appear to have the in and out point from the start to the finish. All right, so another thing quickly I'll show you is the ability to view an input really quickly at a full resolution just by clicking the little screen underneath it to make any changes or to check anything like so, and I can click on it again to remove it. Now, with my vMix here, these bars here aren't on by default, so you can go ahead and you can change this as well by going up to this section here and creating your own options for your safe zones. So this is an 80-90% safe zone for titles and actions, But it's up to you if you want to turn this on, just so you know where to put your titles and keep all of your main actions and that sort of stuff. It's a good idea to have this to kind of create the best sort of layout and perspective for people that are watching your production. Okay, so let's now go ahead and add a picture. So I go to add input down here, and I'll need to select image. Now there is a photos option, and that is for like a photo gallery. So you can add multiple images and you can cycle through it. So I'm going to select image here, and I'm going to click browse, and then I'm going to add this image here, click OK, and then open it up like so. And now I have an image in my production like so. An easy way to add certain elements into vMix is by just dragging and dropping them from a folder. So for things like audio files, video files, and pictures, you can go ahead and select some. So for example, I've got some audio files here. I've got a background image like here. I've got another one here. I can just select all of those and just drag them directly into vMix like so. And that's going to populate all of my content that I've dragged in. So I now have a lot of different images and audio files. Now, if you do need some more space here, you can go ahead and you can turn off the audio mixer. You can turn it back on by pressing this button. You can resize it like so. You can move the audio mixer to a different screen if you wanted by unpinning it. And then to bring it back, you just minimize it again. It will bring it back here. And then you can also right click on an input like so, and that will just minimize them as well. You can also use the color tabs here and drag different elements into different tabs, so they only appear on that particular tab like so. So you can kind of label out all of your different things to kind of narrow down all of your inputs. They'll always appear in this first one, but you can drop them into different labeled areas across the top here. And if you right click on it, you can label them if you like. Now, if you are looking to create even more space in your interface, you can go ahead and grab this horizontal line here and just drag it up like so. So now you've got more space available down in your input area. Now, this will depend on the resolution of your monitor. So higher resolution screens will give you the opportunity to be able to create more space like this. You can also make changes to the size of your input boxes down here, for example. So if I go into the settings up here, I can then change the input size box down here from this drop-down menu. And there are a couple of different options here for setting up your displays and that sort of thing that you might want to have a look at. Now, one thing I'll mention with the images is that a lot of the times it's best to kind of create the image as the size of your production. So for example here, if I added this particular image into my production, it's going to be full size like so. Then I'll have to position it on a layer or on an overlay. Whereas if I create an image that's the full size, 1920 by 1080, it's easier for me to place that when I add it as a layer in my production. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and add a title. So I go to add input in the bottom left-hand corner, and we go to the title section. Now you can see that we have a lot of different animated title templates that are available to be used in vMix. Now all of these in here are animated, and they use the GT title engine that we've created for vMix. So a lot of titling or graphics programs take up a lot of CPU to run. So typically you'll need to run that on a separate computer and then feed that into your video production. In vMix, we've created our own GT titling engine, which will render all of your graphics in real time on the GPU, so it doesn't hog up your CPU, and you can run the titles at the same time as your production on the same computer. Now you can obviously still use these other titling programs on a separate computer and bring them in via, say, NDI or something like that. Or you could also render out your titles in After Effects and then overlay those as video files in vMix. So all of these are animated, and so you can select them and use them in your production. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's just grab, let's say this one here, and then I'm going to click OK down the bottom. So when you first create them, you've got the ability to use any of the fields here. So we have text, and we also have a logo. If they have a logo, or if they have multiple text fields, we can edit them here. We can edit the text like so, the left text, and then we can add a logo by browsing. Let's just use this guy here. And so that's how you can add it. Different content to it. You can then change the font color and that sort of thing using this information here. You can completely customize your own GT titles by using the GT title designer, and that's available down here in the hamburger menu in vMix. So you can open up the GT title designer, build them from scratch, create your own awesome animation in vMix, or just create static titles through that program. And there's plenty of videos if you'd like to check those out also. Now in vMix, you can also fill out title content with dynamic data. So if I click the data sources option up here, I can then select a data source I've set up in vMix. So what I can do is click manage here, and then